Welcome everybody to this week's edition of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, along with
Uncle Spoke.
our brother Damon. He's going to be joining us momentarily, but we welcome you to this week's edition. Um, thank you guys for joining us on our journey. It has been a wonderful journey. We're going to continue on until the wheels fall off. But
hmm
Jaquari, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I was useful to somebody else today, so I met my goal.
I like that. I like that. You said that last week, and that's some realness, man. Always something to shoot for, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you don't feel like you have nothing, the least is the very most that you can ask for from yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Um, myself, I've had a good day. Why? Because I've concentrated on. See, this is how I feel like before. When it comes to drinking, the way if you're raised right, whatever reason, whatever your version of being raised right is, right, when it comes to understanding every blessing that came your way in your life, understanding that, and embracing it, right? You always will feel optimistic. Right? And I'm not talking about I subscribe to the rainbow and whatever, right? But what I'm saying is, it's easy to find something to have anxiety. That's the easiest thing in the world for anyone. That is the easiest thing in the world to do. Something you have to worry. Like one time I was waking up in the morning with two.
Hello, America. My brother is currently experiencing some technical difficulties. I'm sure he'll be back shortly. Uh, in the meantime, he was explaining how his day was going, and I believe he was alluding to the pressures of life, and how stuff can just build up in your mind and eventually become, so heavy that they start to drag you down mentally. You know what I mean? But if you take the time, man, if you take a minute to reassess. Oh,
Yeah, yeah, hey, that's the devil.
the devil, the
The
devil.
devil. What up, fellas?
Look at
What's going on, man?
what's going on, brother.
Um, you had to excuse me on my phone, and for some reason, my internet trying not to be my friend today. But I got bars now. But like I said before I dropped off, I think the easiest thing in the world to do, right, is to look for the negative thing. Because my ritual is sitting on the side of the bed in the morning. I think I learned this from my father. With put both feet on the floor. That's how I wake up. When you put both feet on the floor, that wakes you up sitting there. So in the middle years of my work, right, in the middle years of being in law enforcement, I thought about the day I was going to have. You know what I'm saying? I was predicting the headache that I was going to have. And then one day it just hit me, and it was through prayer. I said, man, I'm not doing that anymore because I think it's been more times, at least 85% of the time, that I was predicting hardship and gloom, and there wasn't one. So you know what? I'm swinging toward the positive. Anyway, I had to finish that, Jaquar. Damon, how was your day today?
My day was all right, man. You know what I'm saying? I can't really complain. You know, I feel blessed. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the fight, so you know, and I can work with them odds.
No doubt. No doubt, bro. No diggity. Um, I want to start off with a topic. Me and Jaquari talked about it before we came on, Damon. And the question is, and I'll start off with the answer so it give you time to really you guys to marinate on it. Are there any mentors in our community? Are there still mentors, OGs, unks, uh, 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 advisors? Do that still exist in our communities in these days, in this day and time? In your opinion, and, it don't have to be a big soliloquy of an answer, but just your opinion. What do you think? Do mentors, OGs, unks with uh, with sincere advice, do they still exist? That's the first part of the question. And my answer is I think you can call it into question because we are being programmed into thinking, into dividing ourselves up, right? We sit there and we'll sit there and talk about describe our young men now the new catchphrase, YN. You know what I'm saying? We split it up. When we was growing up, they called us jitterbugs, and uh, you know, it was always it was always trying to be a generation gap, right? But what really is concerning is this recent times that generation gaps seems like it's some life breathed into it. So that's why I think that it's up to debate, depending on who's talking to who. But I think there should be more of it from the man and women side of things. I think it should be more. I think the young folks should be receptive to us. I think we should be receptive to the younger folks. So I think it's a war, quote unquote a war. It's not. It's bad, it's extreme, but it's a battle. Jaqua, what do you think?
Well, a couple things, man. First and foremost, man, you mentioned mentorship.
Uh-huh.
Nowadays, you can make a pretty penny being a professional mentor. You can, and I think a lot of men, period, when it comes to conveying specific specific life curriculum, they
Yeah.
look for opportunities to get paid to impart those lessons. The problem with that is at the end of every job, at the end of every workday, that's what it is. It's the end. As long as we're in a space where you know we can get paid to do that, it creates that double-edged sword. You know, and you got to ask. I look at my life, and I got to say that the only reason why I'm in a space to where I can affect young people and talk and interact with young people is because I work with them. You know, at no other point in my life am I ever around young people. You know, like we don't have a community center that I know of to volunteer at where I live. We don't, you know, I'm not from where I live originally, so I don't have a neighborhood to go back to, you know, just to show my face and, you know, and touch palms and everything, and, you know, and because if I was to go back, if I was to go back home right now, I don't know those young boys. I don't know 'em. Hell, I would I would venture to say, man, that I don't even know their fathers. You know what I mean?
Good
So
point. Good point.
you gotta have proximity, man. You gotta have proximity. You gotta want proximity. You know, but in OGs, you know, as we were discussing before we came on camera, man, you know, OGs are freaking 29 years old nowadays. You know, how much has that person really experienced outside of specific situations? How much information can they actually, you know, give somebody in high school that's really useful? You know, we need to be teaching our children about mortgage payments and freaking, you know, investments and long-term investments and stuff like that. I mean, you know, it's it's a wild situation, man. You know, I don't know if I answered your question or not, but that's what I have to give.
Okay. Well, Damon, do you think there are mentors, OGs, advisors, older people reaching back to the younger folks?
Yeah, I think that happens on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? Because those OGs got kids and they got grandkids that they trying to mentor to. A lot of times in those situations, the youngest don't listen, man. You know what I'm saying? They think they know it all, you know. And you know, when you try to mentor to them, they start thinking, "Oh, here we go again." They have that type of mentality, man. Here we go again, you know. And what they don't recognize is that it's an ongoing thing. It's just not something that you just get and say, "All right, now I got this knowledge and I'm gonna apply it." And this, that's a no. You got to practice it. You got to be it, man. Because if you look at us as black people, man, there's always something negative afoot, man. You know what I'm saying? There's always something that's been shown about us that is that holds some truth to it, but it's not the totality of it, man. You know, a black man could be raising a son in a not living in a household, giving him his best self. You know, that son could be thinking, well, you ain't living in the house. But if you look at it for what it really for what it really is, their father's always telling them, "Hey, son, you can't have that attitude. You can't be that way. You got to structure your life in this way in order for it to move forward, to be progressive or whatever." Those things get lost in the weeds, man, simply because a father might be living in the same house, but they still giving jewels. They still being given information to be able to survive. You know what I'm saying? I don't know in my life. I don't know many men who truly abandon their sons or daughters, for that fact. You know what I'm saying? Other things factor in, not sleeping on the same roof. That doesn't mean that a father is not there. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes.
all the nuances come in and all the, the little things become magnified, and then there's no communication. There's people not listening. Like I said, all the men that I know, make a gallant effort in raising their sons. But if you listen to the media and you listen to all these people
Okay.
who
Well,
what?
Damon,
Go ahead,
I'm
Damon.
speaking more from. I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm
Yes.
speaking more from outside. I'm not talking about fathers. I'm talking about OGs, mentors to men to boys who might not necessarily be their son, but be a little cousin, a nephew, a neighbor, son's friend.
Right. Right.
What do you think about that?
It all depends on how you want to market yourself, how you want to put yourself out there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
you want to be this guy who, hey man, this is thug life out here? You know what I'm saying? You got to be about your business. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? You can market it that way, or you can market it in a fashion where you lead by example. You know what I'm saying? Because that's one thing that you can't. People see what they see. They see what they see, and you can't. You know what I'm saying? You can't live a certain way and then project. Try to say or project something else. They see what they see. You know what I'm saying? So you got to live that truth, man. And in living that truth, everybody's not going to get it, but somebody is. Somebody's going to recognize it and say, cuz, we ain't really kicked it, but man, I've been watching how you do things, and man, I tried it and it works. And you don't even have to open your mouth. You know what I'm saying? You just do it by example.
Okay. So let me ask you guys: is life like a movie when it comes to being a mentor to a kid, outside kid? I say outside, for lack of a better word. Where the more you mention thug life and you mention the more somebody is on that rah rah, that aggressive thing, are our kids nowadays, in your opinion, more prone to listen to that side, or someone coming to them and saying, look, you can handle this a different way? And this is what you which one of those do you think, in your experience, kids have listened to the most?
Kids listen to the thing. Kids listen to the person in a lot of cases who shines the most, man. You
I agree
know,
with that.
when you're in the space, man, where you come, when you're in when you're in the space and you see it as an opportunity for mentorship, you kind of have to become expert at the art of teaching without teaching.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, because the worst thing you can do is nowadays, and I say this because I experience working with young people, all the time. The worst thing you can do is try to club them over the head with information. Okay, and that tracks because hell, I was the same way. You couldn't get me to sit down, in a classroom and pay attention for 50 minutes and expect me to have picked up anything, because that's not the way I learn. I learn through conversation. I learn through hands-on experience or whatever. And there's ways that you can convey life lessons. Hell, even in a classroom, you know, with without having to adhere to that rigid system. People. I mean, as I know, look, excuse me, like a lot of black men that I know, the majority of the black men that I know, drop jewels when I talk to them, and they have a desire to mentor someone, but it's the vehicle that's lacking. A lot of times, I mean, motivational speakers have to be taught. I believe, I mean, you it's several things you have to factor in when you go and speak to a crowd of people, and your desire is to sway them in a positive direction. You know, you got to have charisma. You got to have, you know, there's cadence to your voice. There's certain things that uh, uh, need to happen in order for your message to be conveyed perfectly. You know, it almost never happens. It almost never happens. You know, but so you gotta we've got to like occupy a space to where we can't be afraid to discuss our failures, because you know, for me, I'm a strong believer, and that's where I've learned the majority of my lessons, you know, in my failures. A lot of people won't talk about their failures. How many people do you know as parents will tell their children how they actually grew up? All the shit that they all the shit that they pulled when they grew up, while they were growing up themselves. Rarely does it happen. Rarely does it happen. You know, I mean, as ugly as the truth is, you know, it's a useful tool if used correctly. You know, and kids, I hear a lot all the time, man. Kids like, you know, well, if this shit works so well, strong, then you know, why ain't the world in the, you know, in a better position? If all I have to do is wake up in the morning and go to work and earn a paycheck and take care of my family and pay my rent and have a nice car, why is the world so full of problems? There's no formula to success. I don't think there is. If there is, you know, I haven't seen it, or I'm not savvy enough to have followed it. Success is really not results driven. Success is not results driven. Success is being able to work through your problems and figure out what the core issue is. Okay, are you having a problem or are you having a situation? Situations and problems are not the same things. You know, and the approaches in the approach to a solution, they're not the same either.
It's true. Damon, the dark and the light. Which do you think the younger generation listen to the most?
In despair, they look at it. In despair, they listening to the dark because they think that's what it is. They don't incorporate themselves into that. You know what I'm saying? They don't incorporate the fact that they don't believe the fact that they can bring light to the world, because the world, there's so much chaos and there's so much turmoil in the world. They don't think that they don't believe that they have a purpose, and their purpose could be what brings light to life. You know, situational things. But it requires you to it requires you to learn from your mistakes, gain wisdom, and live life. You know what I'm saying? And in doing that, you're teaching somebody else. This is how you overcame. Hey, he got out the hood. He got out that situation. How did he do it? There was a process, and the process began with understanding thyself. You know what I'm saying? Understanding yourself. You could go through a process of, hey, well, you know what? This is what it takes to be in the world. You know what I'm saying? And survive it. In essence, that's all you're going to do. As opposed to, man, what's my purpose? I'm here for a reason. I have to find what that dynamic is and live that truth. You know what I'm saying? Pass or fail. If you pass, that means that you're learning from your mistakes. You're gaining wisdom and you're learning from your mistakes, and you know how to live your truth. And that's your real purpose, is learn to understand your truth. You know what I'm saying? That's what the real purpose is, not to fit in with anybody, because if you do that, you're a follower. And then you get caught up in the cog and in the mess, and then you find yourself in the place you really don't want to be in, wondering, how did I get here? You know, and then despair hits you. Despair hits you. Whereas you say, you know what, I'm overcome this situation based on my purpose, what I'm here for, and all that stuff. then it's more personal. Then you have understanding, and then you can tell somebody, "Hey, man, I can't tell you what to do, but this is what I did." You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to find your truth, and that requires you to see yourself not just somebody who existing, but somebody who's put here on this planet. You know, your life has to mean something to you before you can project anything. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it don't work for everybody. That's God's job, man, to put people in place to learn from each other and, you know, situational stuff. That's God's job. Only thing you have to do is live your purpose, what you're here for, being your best self, you know? And if you really think about it, that's truly really only your own your job, really. It's not everybody else, it's you. How did I survive that? How did I overcome? Some people's situations are worse than others. And that makes it even more dynamic, man. People who come out of bad situations overcome and being an example. You understand what the point I'm making?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I think about it, because as I listen to y'all, I'm like, there is no way in the world I could solve the world's problems. Man. You know what I'm saying? All that's going to do is cause
So are we?
conflict and strife in my life, and I'll never figure that out. What you saying, bro?
So so it. So you're saying that just to just hammer down your point is you have to find who you are before you could be able to uh, navigate through all of this right
Right.
now. Know yourself. Okay. So
And what that does, good.
no, go ahead and finish.
And what that does is let you know whether or not you being an asshole. You know what I'm saying?
So- Sometimes we got to be an
You
asshole to be right.
right. You selfish in the situation, and that affects people. You know what I'm saying, to their core, and you come to a realization that you caused it. You know what I'm saying? Are you proud of that? Do you take pride in it? You know what I'm saying? That's something that you have to decide for yourself. You know what I'm saying? If I am a true leader, I'm leading in grace. You know, I expect grace and I give grace. You know what I'm saying? This is who I am, and of course you're going to judge me by the negative aspects of it, but also judge me on how I redeem myself,
Yeah.
and that requires action, bro. And you learning from, you know what I'm saying, your mistakes. What you know, what you caused. You know, you have to
Yeah.
take that. You have to deal with that.
So let me ask you guys this. I was, and in my pastime, what I do is I scroll through different podcasts. There's some great podcasts out there for common sense as far as thinking about you as a person, you as yourself, how you treat other people, and all these different things. There's also motivational podcasts. There's every kind of podcast possible, right? Some good, some very good, some bad, some very bad. I can't remember the brother's name, and what I'm going to do later on, I'm gonna post it and post his link to this. But this brother, uh, he is he's popular in being a truth sayer, right? And I've seen him break people down who comes onto his platform to be selfish, to be about them, pointing at themselves and all this. And he'll scope it a mile away and you get with him, right? But he said something, and I was curious about it, and I want to get your take on it. He said, "Show me." He's just talking about men's journey through life. He said, "Show me and how it affects our community workers and all that. He said, show me an older person. I'm paraphrasing. I may not get it correct. Close. Show me an older person who's here. I'll show you a person who never fought for anything in their life.
One more time, bro.
And
Right, because you was breaking
that
up.
struck. He said, here in the stand, and I'll show you somebody who's never fought for anything in his life.
So show me
And I
a
want to know,
show me an older person, and I'll show you a person who's never fought for anything in his life.
yes, what is your, I think he said that to get a reaction, but I'm not sure why he said it. But what is your initial thought on that?
Now, let me make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. He said, show an older person and I'll show you somebody that's never done anything in life.
Like was here, that like fought for anything in his life. You know what I'm saying? So, sort of like it's along the lines of OG. You know, somebody who wise and experienced, who's living right now. He said, he said technically they've never fought against anything in their whole life. We're talking about community activism for the most part.
And I don't know that I could wholeheartedly agree with that, man. I mean,
Right. I'm gonna follow you up
What
with
is,
you. I'm gonna listen to what Spo had to say, man.
listen, no, see, do not try to, you don't have to comment on it. What is your initial impression of it when you hear it? What does it, what is the feeling once you hear somebody say that?
I just said I don't agree with it. I mean, that's you have people
Well,
who
why do you think you don't agree with it, Jaquan?
you have people who go through hell, man, and become survivors. Whatever trauma they bring with them on the other side of that situation is what makes them who they are. Is what adds to their grit.
Uh-huh. Okay. Damon.
You have to be. If I'm hearing what I'm hearing, you have to be arrogant as hell, man, to make that type of statement.
All right,
You know what I'm
let's
saying?
assume that he is. Let's assume that he is that arrogant. What is
Okay,
your
so
first impression?
my first impression is who the hell what audience is he trying to target, man? You know what I'm saying? What message is he trying to put out there? Because you know what I'm saying? That's if I'm understanding what you're saying, that's following the fool, man. You know what I'm saying? That's saying wisdom doesn't matter. Life experience doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? And I'm making that statement because I'm trying to understand the point he was making. Is he basically saying ain't nothing but old fools?
As I was saying to me, my impression of it is, and really and truly, he was trying to make, because that was a clipped up joint. That was one of his clips. But you know, I thought he was trying to elicit some kind of reaction from what he said, because really and truly, it depends on where you are in life, in my opinion. Where you, as a person, as a human being, as a man or a woman, where you are in life is how you take that statement. Because to me, it's easy to sift through debating of it, trying to bait and elicit angry response or controversial response. Now, granted, I didn't see the whole thing, so I can't put it in context, but what I did was I took that part and I just wanted your initial statement from it.
Well, how do you feel about the statement, bro?
Huh?
How do you feel about the statement?
Where I am right now in my life, I understand that experience means everything. Now you can hide in your lifetime when it comes to community, right? And just be in your own lane and do, whatever, and not participate in the PTA, which is a small version, or any kind of march, not do those things. You just stay in your own lane. You can do that, but you can also at the same time affect what's around you, not just your family, but friends, children. Affect change, planting seeds. See, that's where I am. You feel what I'm saying? That's where I am with it. Where when I heard it, I initially knew like he just trying to, whoever his guest is, he's trying to mess with his head or her head and trying to, not enrage them, but make them feel a little smaller because they probably were sitting there talking about accomplishment. You feel what I'm saying? You know, he said, I've been a community activist, I've been this, I've been that. He ran down a whole thing. He's done it before in this podcast. I've been this, I've been that, I've been this, and running it down, talking about this resume. And pretty much said, if you're not doing this, you're not doing enough.
Well,
I
he
don't agree
entitled
with
to
that.
his opinion. He entitled to his opinion. It sounds like he a little arrogant behind that, man. Hey, I do this and I do that, and if you're not doing what I do, then you're not doing enough. Okay, stand on that.
Hey, you know what
If
I
that's how
feel
you
like?
feel,
You know what I feel like? If you don't have arrogance in the way that you live your life, you're shortchanging yourself because arrogance by itself is not a good thing because it's like frosting, right? You don't have the cake without frosting. But arrogance keep you keenly aware of your abilities. And I agree with you. I feel like he's borderline cocky because he feels like he can communicate to everybody his shit. Like he's practiced it and practiced it, and he's believed in his life journey, and he feels as though he can hold it up against anybody. But see, I believe my final thing about this. I believe if you're a good human being, if you're a good human being, if you've not wronged the majority of the people in your life, right? You can hold your life up against anybody. You can hold your life up against the saints, human saints. Now, I'm not talking about spiritual saints. But see, what we what always happens with us, and I'm not talking black people, I'm talking about human beings, is we condition ourselves to live our lives through other people's accomplishments. Measure up. Do I measure up? If I was in law enforcement, did I measure up? Did I become a sergeant, lieutenant, captain? If I didn't do that, um, is my life, did I waste my time in law enforcement? The things I just named, the three things I just named, that's nothing but an occupation. You get paid more money now. If you're about money, then you got to get on your job. You know what I'm saying? But if it's just labeling who you are, you have not been doing your job because what you
You got
do as
stutter.
a
I'm sorry, man. Goddamn spider came down by my head, man. I freaked out for a second. All right, continue, please. I'm sorry for
That's
the
all
interrupt.
right. As long as you didn't scream, man, you all right. But
I shit.
I saw it coming. I saw it coming up through your throat, though.
Yeah, I shit a little bit.
Yeah, no, you say, ah, help me, help me.
Yeah. But my thing is, you haven't done. Of course, if you that is a great thing to get ranked, mostly because of the money. But to get ranked, like yo, this is what I've done, right? But if you have not spent time in order trying to get that rank in helping others, speaking on law enforcement, in helping others, being the very best you can be, and rank to me, and believe me, folks that I know that are supervisors now, you deserve it, and I'm glad, but it don't measure up to how you live your life. You know what I'm saying? How you live your work life. What did you do? You know what I mean? I'm not talking about saving lives because let me tell you, small note. If you work in law enforcement for some odd amount of years, every law enforcement officer will have saved one person's life, at least one person's life in their course of duty, because that's the job. You feel what I'm saying? So it's not about I've saved this many lives. I'm talking about how you affect others, who you are as a person.
Well, the story about Scrooge, you know what I'm saying? He had his whole life ran down on him. You know what I'm saying? He became humble at the end. You know,
Yeah.
it don't matter, man, what you achieve and what you gather, man. Your legacy is what it's going to be. Is it going to be a monetary thing? Imagine that, man. You accomplish everything monetarily, gaining things, status, and all that stuff in your life. But when it comes to the end, towards the end of your life, and you have to figure out who's going to follow your legacy. The first thing that you're going to think about is, well, who respected my humanity? You know what I'm saying? Who
What do you
respected
mean
my
by follow?
humanity?
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off. What do you mean by follow your legacy?
Who follow? If you follow my legacy, then you're going to be about status symbols, or you're going to be about that. But when you at the end and you're alone with all the things that you achieved and purchased and you hold on to, you're going to take it to the grave with you, or you're going to figure out who deserves it. You know what I'm saying? Who am I going to, you know what I'm saying? You start thinking about who do I give these things to that's going to uplift my legacy. You know what I'm saying? Who am I going to pass this on to? Who's going to see the humanity in the all the things that I achieved? You know what I'm saying? You could be a cheat and a grifter and all that stuff and gain a whole lot of stuff, man. But what's your legacy? You know what I'm saying? What does that say about you as a human being? While you sitting on your deathbed and you thinking, oh, how come, all the things I achieved, where everybody at? I took care of a lot of people. Yeah, but through bribery and all of that stuff. Where is the humanity in that? It isn't, because people don't get to see you as a human being. Your accomplishments, you know what I'm saying? They're like, hey man, he was the best snake or whatever that I've ever seen in my life. You know what I'm saying? And then you trying to divvy up the pots. Who gets what? You know what I'm saying? I just know that if I was in that position, I'm thinking about, man, I wish I could have done. Most of us come to that conclusion. I wish I could have been better in this regard or better in that regard or done more in this situation. You know what I'm saying? In my experience, that's what most people told me, said to me personally. And that requires not the material stuff, but time spent.
the time spent, the humanity of it. You know what I'm saying? You have to be a callous person, man, to say, hey man, we gotta keep our thumb on everybody to make sure we keep the money going, you know, the money legacy going. You know what I'm saying? We want to have the biggest share. We want to be able to control everything. So there's nothing about humanity there. It's all about material gains. How do you
Okay.
how do you justify that?
Justify what?
If you believe in it, imagine being a man who gained everything by any means necessary, and he had a stranglehold on everything. And, hey man, I want to see who I want to leave this to. And then you wind up going into the pearly gates, and they showing you snapshots of your life where you could have been better. You know what I'm saying? How do you justify it? You understand what I'm
It's
saying?
okay. But
I
I
think
think you go ahead, Jaquar. Go ahead.
I think there's justifications for it, man, because you need those kinds of people in your life. You need people who think about financial and material gain. But you also need people who have a heart. You need a person around you who's willing to help and who's willing to give, and you also need a person who's willing to think through these problems. Well, if I help in this situation, then I'm going to deplete my resources. Okay, life is a collaborative thing, man. Nobody we don't get through our own individual lives alone. We don't. You know, sometimes those traits are necessary in regards to the success of the greater. You know, somewhere along the line, though, you know, the money and the material became more important than the other two things that I mentioned. You know, the heart and the brain.
I think if it's emphasis, if it's a heavy emphasis, because you got to think about it. It's what this country from the beginning, the history books. It's all they talked about was when it started coming up, the American dream, right? Capitalism. Capitalism has always been
I got it.
interwoven with the with American dream. They tell us, think about it from elementary on. We talk about how somebody took, like Henry Ford. In Detroit, we learned about Henry Ford, right? Not the fact that Henry Ford was a Nazi and all that, but what his innovations was, where he was collaborating with the Nazis during World War II. Never hear about that because he in these days and time he would be a billionaire. You know what I'm saying? It's not about his character. It's never about character, man. See, that's the thing where I understand that when you go to when somebody is lying and cheating or taking advantage of people, they're doing that on purpose. It's not an accident.
Right.
So they're not going to be, to me, to your point earlier, Damon, they're not looking for nobody unless they got children. They ain't looking for nobody to give their money to. They looking for the fucking fountain of youth so they can either extend their lives or they what they're going to do is when if they feel bad, they're going to donate their money, especially if they don't have anybody, because it's been done. The Carnegies and all the different places, right? They donate it to different charities or
Right.
foundations,
You don't think that's
right?
guilt?
They don't want to go to hell. There's guilt.
Exactly.
There's guilt. But see,
Exactly.
that's the thing. That it's guilt because of fear of dying, my opinion. The fear
Right.
of dying.
Is there
But
And that's something everybody have to go through and experience.
is there redemption in it though?
no, it's not redemption. See, that's the thing. Redemption comes through, uh, in my opinion, my knowledge of it. Redemption comes through not what you give away, but what you bring in. spiritual. I think that's redemption. You know what I'm saying? You know,
Spirituality don't feel belly stuff.
you're right about that. See but that you know, it's two things. We talking about passing on to that coil, right? But living, you living to fill your belly. You're living to feel, to make sure that you fed, your family fed, and you have everything, especially if you got a stranglehold on a certain thing.
At
Because
the cost
really
of
and
what?
truly, the money, see, that's the point though. When it comes to money and power, there is no cost to anything. That's my opinion. Now, people on our level, because we've had to live amongst humans, we've had to live in understanding who we are as people and loving our loved ones and getting along with our neighbors. We've had to do that. These folks, they buy islands, they buy mountaintops, so they don't have to deal with anyone. They isolate themselves. And I'm just speaking in general terms. They isolate themselves. We think of along those lines because we have to live amongst each other. And we want to live amongst each other. Now we want a little bit more room now. Don't get me wrong. I think the majority of us want a little bit of more room, but we like the company of people. I'm speaking for everybody in the world, but we like the company of people. We just don't want people on top of us. Unless there's some freaky deaky shit.
You
Okay.
ever are either of you guys familiar with well, I know you've heard the name before, Ty Cobb. Are you
Yeah.
familiar are you familiar with the story outside of baseball?
He
He
was
was
a
an evil. He was a,
racist.
he was yeah, he's racist, evil man. He was an evil man to everyone,
Absolutely deplorable. Absolutely deplorable. Deplorable.
but was
Do
a
you,
multi-millionaire when he died.
yeah, but do you know how much money he donated to communities, black communities in Detroit throughout his career?
No, I didn't know. I don't
No,
know that.
no, I'm learning something now.
Did a lot. Did a lot. Now that money, does that money know that Ty Cobb was a piece of shit?
No,
Didn't care.
you see
Money didn't care.
but I think it's a divine reason why Ty Cobb did it. Whatever reason why he did it, right? I
There's
think
reasons.
is divinity. But go ahead.
There's
Yeah,
reasons.
I'm learning something
Reasons.
too,
I
Jaquari. That's crazy.
mean, look it up. Watch the movie. Tommy Lee Jones was in the movie. I think they
Yeah,
talk about. I think they talk about it a little bit in there. But I mean, yeah, just do a little research. I mean,
they call look, they called him a racist, but he was an evil man, is what he was.
But I mean, let me ask you this, bro. Did he do
no,
that
I don't. I
work
can't.
towards the end of his life?
As far as I can remember, man, probably towards the end, he probably did something while he was playing. Like I said, I'm not real sharp on it, but he was a very charitable man.
Yeah, well,
Because
I don't know it.
he invested in all the stock market, the different companies. That's where he got his fortune from. He knew what he was doing when it came to that. You know
But
what I
see,
mean?
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't give a damn, man, if he was that guy for the black community towards the end of his life, and he did a whole lot. The thing that people don't recognize during his life when he was espousing racism, all that stuff, how many people was harmed in that, man? You know what I'm saying? And him towards the end of his life come to an understanding that he caused a lot of harm. Hey, let me give away my wealth because of what I caused.
And I definitely took that into consideration before I brought it up.
Of course,
I
of
mean,
course,
You know,
and
resources.
you should.
Yeah,
Yeah,
resources are resources, man. I mean,
Oh yeah.
If Elon look if Elon Musk was to start dropping cash, particularly in our communities or whatever, would anybody turn it down?
Not if they're trying to live. No, no.
Not if they can
And
see
plus,
that they can
Elon.
seize the opportunity. You know what I'm saying?
Look.
But
Elon is not going to give no cap or anything.
but imagine this. Imagine this. You got billionaires nowadays that contribute money to the Democratic Party and all the things that it entails, right? But that is something that they do on a lower level. But who are they put in? Are they putting in positions to be on the level that they're on? See what I'm saying? Hey, you know what? This for the sake of write-offs and stuff like that, then I'm gonna do that. You know what I'm saying, to keep my books balanced or whatever. But how many billionaires are giving other people opportunities to be billionaires?
Why would they do that?
If they're truly saying they're about their humanity, I mean, you can see through the bullshit, man. Is what I'm saying.
No, but
they know,
but
but they know that money talks, and the rest of that stuff, you know what it does. You know what I'm saying?
and you're absolutely right. But see, here's the thing: they are not going to make another billionaire. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. You know why?
Why is that?
Because that's the hardest thing in the world to do, is make another billionaire. Even if they set out to do it. Now, you can make somebody else wealthy, right? And why would you want to, and I'm talking from a selfish point of view, why would you want to do that for somebody else if it's not your kin?
If I figured out how to balance myself on the tip of a pinhead, but in the meantime, I could figure out a way to hold up a few people to make sure that they didn't fall into this like river of lava. Why would I try to make room on the top of that pinhead?
It's not possible, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's not possible. It's not in my nature.
And that's the thing. That's what I was alluding to. To become a billionaire, not a millionaire now. Because millionaires, multi-millionaires still have that a bit of unselfishness to it. But a billionaire, that's amassing power. That's how billionaires become billionaires. They amass power. Power is the driving force behind all money. Money is a tool. Money is a tool. Power is the thing that keeps money coming. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel about it.
Let me ask you a question, right? Say you are a billionaire, you worth $10 billion, right? And you got 5 kids, right? You can give each one of your kids $1 billion and have 5 left. What else? What else you need to do other than wanting to become immortalized?
Well, I mean, I think you got to look at the person, because I mean, number one,
it's the person. It's the person.
I don't think you could look at a billionaire and see unselfishness. I don't think you could, even if it was the most, if this person was the most altruistic person to walk the face of the earth. If
when it comes to family, Jaquari, but go ahead.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
when a person has $1 billion, even if they give, unselfishness is not going to be a trait that somebody attributes to him, you know, and that's unfortunate. But
I, th-
I don't think it matters, man. I mean, if they're willing to give, then you know people are willing to
I mean,
receive.
see, here's the thing, though. I mean, think about it. We are thinking from our vantage point, right? Because me personally, I have lived in this area of finance and money. And the one thing that I know, and as far as my age is concerned, being 60 years old, so I want to see other
Man, bro, I
people.
thought you were 63.
Yeah, I will be
I'm just joking.
soon. See you in 3 years. But
I'll be 60
I
in 2 months, so I'm just joking.
I want to see other people along with my riches now. But I want to see other people experience the same thing that I'm experiencing on a larger scale, right? I saw something, and tell me what y'all think about this. What's your opinion about this? I saw something that said, in order for them to be rich and wealthy, we need a poorer class. What is your opinion about that?
I don't think that's true because the man who came up with the polio vaccine, he could have been a billionaire, but he gave away that information for free. So it's about your mentality, man. I mean, do you have a God complex? Is money your God? You know what I'm saying? Is being in control of people, being part of the 5% of the world, is that what your goal is? You want to have that control? You want to be able to dictate the world? You know what I'm saying? You have to have that type of mentality to be on that level. Once you get to $1 billion, you have that in the bank. Taxes paid, everything. You got $1 billion. What else is it left for you to do other than have the mindset of, okay, then I'm one of the most powerful people in the world now. So now it's not about money anymore. It's about to be able to dictate how I believe the world should run, how it should be.
Okay, so
Those are two different
I, wa-
things, man.
I was lost when you said that. So you telling me after you achieve all this, now it's time to take over the world because that's what it sounded just now.
Yeah, that's
Because
exactly
why?
what it is.
Okay,
To be in that exclusive group. Hey, man, I dictate what happens in the world. I don't care how many nuclear weapons they got or whatever. I dictate what happens in the world. I decide I decide everything. You know what I'm saying? Wanting to be in that exclusive group, that's I'm not going to say a mental illness, but that's a God complex, man. Because in your lifetime, you'd never be able to spend $80 billion. And
So
not
I'm
unless you
thinking.
just give it away.
so your opinion is that if you're a billionaire, that automatically makes you a megalomaniac?
Or Elon Musk, the
First of all,
so-called, the so-called richest man in the world. I don't believe that. I think them Saudis are. But the so-called richest man in the world, what did he do in his spare time? Went into the United States government and cut 300 plus thousand jobs from black women. You say, what was his motivation behind that? That was strategic. He did that on purpose as the richest man in the world. So it wasn't about being the richest man in the world with billions and billions of dollars. It was about dictating and controlling resources, who got what,
power,
and who you can.
power,
Right.
Okay.
power. That's my point. You see now I do understand the three of us have this vantage point, meaning we don't know what it feels like to be a billionaire. Now this is all
Listen,
guesstimate, and the reason why I say that is because Damon, you're throwing a lot of humanity into the equation. And Jaquar, you said megalomaniac, you got to be one on the way up. It don't just automatically you turn into one once you get there. Your goal is control all the power, all the money, everything. Now we're speaking from a screenplay now. We talking about a movie right now because that's a
no,
movie.
Basically,
But
that
but
actually
but it's
happened.
realistic though.
yeah,
No. I'm just
That
saying.
when the
that
lottery,
actually happened. When those, for years and years, for 10 years, it's always been said black women are the most educated, and they are in they hold jobs that's middle class and all of that, uplifted people, middle class and all of that. So they had a certain amount of power. You know what I'm saying? And each time the election came around, they can dictate certain things. You know what I'm saying? So once Trump got in power, what happened? He appointed Musk with Doe to go through and cut what they call waste, right? Waste. What was the waste they cut? Those people that they felt threatened from, who was challenging them every time there was election come. 300,000. When those cut government jobs, they cut 300,000 black women from government employment. That was intentional to take away power. To take away power. That's what it was. And guess what? Moving forward, what are we talking? What are we talking about now? We're not even talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Every time they talking about the federal jobs that were cut whatever. Every time they talking about the federal jobs that were cut or whatever, and when they interview people whose jobs was lost, who did they interview? It wasn't black women. It was white women and white men in terms of all the federal jobs that were cut. You know what I'm saying? But it's not even. But the white people who lost jobs is not even a fraction to how many jobs were cut for black women. 300,000 jobs. But there hasn't been any discussion about that. And in my estimation, what I truly believe, that was done on purpose. And there's still no discussion about it. 300,000 jobs, federal jobs that were cut were black women. Middle class. Nobody, no news organization or anybody is talking about that right now. But that happened.
yeah, I'm not.
They intentionally did that. If they wanted to cut fat from the government to save money, they could have started with the military. They could have started with a whole lot of other stuff other than where they cut it at. And it what's the other joint they cut where they stopped medication and all that stuff going to countries overseas. And as a result of cutting that money, thousands and thousands of people in Africa are dying because they don't have HIV medicine. They cut that. Nobody's talking about it. Anything that has to do with black countries, black women in this country, whatever, they cut that and nobody's talking about it. And that was a strategic thing that they did. And nobody's talking about it. You know what I'm saying? That's what billionaires do when they acquire all this money from. How do you cut government contracts when it comes to uh, humanitarian things? But did anybody hear anything about Elon Musk losing his government contract? It didn't happen. And then when it got close to it, what did Elon Musk do? Hey, Trump, man, you getting towards my money. You getting at my money. Let's talk about the Epstein files.
Yeah, I didn't, you know, in any way mean to imply that I thought there was any level of redemption in a billionaire. I'm saying, you know, when they hit the pockets, people accept that money.
How the hell billionaires contracts is something? How the hell make that make sense to me?
If a person is a billionaire, their number one motivation, more than likely, is to stay a billionaire. The whole concept of capitalism, man, is to get the people with the money and put them in positions where they can distribute it. They're not going to distribute their own money.
You talking about going trickle down? What's that sound, man?
Don't know.
Music coming in. Y'all don't hear that?
Yeah.
Man, I'm having technical difficulties.
I'm trying to keep my composure, man, because
we don't own the rights to this music.
It's Danny gonna be calling talking about, hey man, I heard my voice.
Yeah. Hey you guys, love the show.
Let me go and come back in.
It's not you, bro.
It might be me.
It's not you, man. I told you I'm having technical difficulties. Got me? I'm having There's always something.
Still there, bro?
Oh, it did. What? Damon, I told you. Hear me?
I can hear you now.
It wasn't. I don't know what's going on with this phone. Jesus Christ.
Soon as we start talking about the real nitty gritty, we get I'm just getting started. Man, I got so much to say, bro. It's crazy, man.
I know y'all haven't
Yeah.
been sitting there just not saying anything.
No, I said I got so much to say. It's crazy, and they're trying to obstruct.
Wow.
I haven't even begun what I really want to say. To be honest with
All right. Well, I mean, I think what we're going to do, we're going to come back and give you a whole episode with that. You know what I'm saying?
you. Oh yeah, absolutely. I would appreciate that, bro. Real talk.
Yeah. I just want us to concentrate on.
You there? Hey, bro, you think if we all go out and come back in, it'll fix things?
No, it's this phone, bro. It's what I keep trying to tell you.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna tone it down then. Go ahead, bro. I'm listening.
Yeah, you're going to tone it down. Man, go ahead with that conspiracy stuff, dog.
It was meant as a
My
joke, bro.
phone is this.
Can y'all hear?
I'm trying to take the onus off you and your phone and talk about the conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
They trying to shut us down, man. You
They're
know
trying to shut us down, dog.
They don't want to hear what we got to say.
Yeah.
Can you hear me, Dan?
Huh? But you said you were.
No, I was just seeing if you could hear me.
I got the
All right. Well, look. Here's the question. Here's the question before this thing do what it do again. What's the thing that frustrates you the most about being where you are as a man, as a successful black man in this country? What is the thing? And I don't want to hear about no politics because we have no power over politics. On a personal basis, what's the one thing that just sticks in your craw that bothers you?
Well, I think at this point, man, for me, it's the fact that everybody I hold the door for won't hold the door for me.
Okay.
You know, and that covers a bunch of shit for me. You know, not just the actual physical act of holding the door or whatever. You know, just in general, man. But I'm not trying to woe is me about don't nobody look out for me and all this. No, that's not my beef. My beef is it's all self-centered. Why does that bother me? Because in my opinion, man, I've worked hard to achieve the status and the little shit that I have, man. And I kind of felt like I didn't have any help, which I did. I know I had help. Just because somebody ain't got hands on the situation and they're there with you physically, don't mean that they're not helping you out in some way. I get that, but there's been very few times where I've been a witness to people helping me the way that I help, and that's no reflection on them. What in no way. That's, like I said, that's all on me. Why does that bother me? I want I want my flowers. I want people to do thoughtful shit for me. Just because that's the way I am. Unfortunately, that's not the way the majority of the world is. So how long do I? How much time do I waste in the precious years in the second half of my life on that bullshit. You know, if you're a good dude, man, you just be a good dude. You know, I mean, the rewards, the rewards are relative, man. You know, you can't you as well as you two know me, man. You couldn't quantify, you know, success for me. You couldn't define it, and I couldn't do it for you either. So if you are grounded in who you are, if you are comfortable with who you are, if you do good shit for the sake of doing good shit, man, just let that be who you are, and it'll speak for itself.
Okay. Damon, what about yourself? What
The
sticks
thing
in your
about
craw?
what sticks in my craw is the fact that I can come to a conclusion and then look at the world around me and lose my damn focus. You know what I'm saying? Be in somewhat despair. Even though I come up with a situation that's meaningful and that I can gain confidence and information from. You know, the other day I woke up, man, I had this dream that when I woke up, and this literally what happened. I woke up and I was thinking about what I dreamed, and it was so outside of where my heart was. I prayed and I said, Lord, I said, Jesus, I'm gonna give my heart to you, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let you lead me, and whatever you bring to me, I'm gonna follow, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna gain wisdom from it, and that's where I'm at. Lead my life. Ever since I've done that, a lot of things has been opened up to me. Not for me to address or say anything, but for me to come to an understanding where I'm at and what I asked for. So I'm in a situation where I'm asking for wisdom. I gave my life up to the Lord, and I can't give you anything else. I'm just waiting for the wisdom to come to me. That's where I'm at. You know, and you know, I gave up that wanting to be in control, and I asked the Lord to lead my life. Been 2 days now. So that's the only thing I can tell you right now. You know what I'm saying? Maybe the Holy Spirit would come to me and give me some idea of where to go next. I'm open to that, and that's all I got to say.
So repeat to us what sticks in your craw.
What sticks in my craw is that faith. If I ask for it, I have to have faith. I can't go back to what makes me angry, what makes me want to speak out of anger. I can't go back to that. I have to ask for guidance, pray for guidance, and that's where I'm moving forward.
All right, we're gonna stay with you. What makes you overjoyed?
What makes me overjoyed is that in my life, when I was trying my level best, I was successful to a certain aspect. You know what I'm saying? Living in this world, trying to understand. But once I gave in, I feel that it's unlimited now. I just have to be shown.
Okay. Jaquari.
So I really don't. I don't really know. We're going to see.
Okay. Jaquari.
That's a good question, man. I mean, joy has really not been something that I set my sights on. You know, happiness is a theory as far as I'm concerned. I mean, the way we define it nowadays, people would say that you can occupy a happy space at all times, but I don't think that's realistic. You know, I'm not the kind of person who operates out of a good place all the time. The things that drive me mad, the things that I believe I can help with. They often come from a place of deficiency, especially if I see that deficiency in myself.
Gotcha. I got you.
That's better.
What sticks in my craw, but it's more furious for me, is the last Labor Day weekend. An old work acquaintance of mine, Principal Erica Lucas, was sitting in her house. And two
You can't hear
young.
me?
You can't hear me? Can you hear me, Jaquari?
I don't think he can hear you.
You can hear me, Damon?
I can hear you.
I didn't do anything different, Jaquari. All right, well, let me just do this. She was sitting in her home, Labor Day weekend, and two young men, juveniles, shooting guns. She was not the intended target, and she was shot in her home.
Wow.
And she was taken to the hospital. They tried their best to save her, and she
This
passed
a friend
away.
of yours?
Friend of mine.
Wow, bro. I'm sorry to hear that, man.
Worked with her for 3 years. You know, known her
Sorry
longer than that, but worked with her for 3 years. She passed away. And what sticks in my craw, the ironic thing is she was about the kids. She was about the children, man. She was the kind, you know, she was a woman that was a sister that cared about children and helping them to, you know, assimilate in life. You know, her husband is a well-known football coach here in this area. So they both serve the community, serve children. And what really and truly, it was tragic just for the simple fact that it happened. If it happened to anyone like that. But she served those children, man. She had been retired for a couple years, but that's what she dedicated herself to, the children, education to children. That's what sticks in my craw. That's what pisses me off. That's what infuriates me. That the part of the youth that she dedicated her life to was responsible for her demise.
That's heartbreaking, bro.
It is. It really is. You know, and her name was Erica Lucas. I send my condolences to the Lucas family
I'm gonna say a prayer for them, man.
and to her family.
It's sad. It's sad.
And that in itself, those kinds of stories infuriates me, sticks in my craw, right? Innocent people. What overjoys me is being present, to be here and to be able to sift through this murky, cloudy mess that comes up sometimes. To be able to see the sunshine, to be able to see the good in the world. That's what overjoys me. Simple, nothing deep.
Sounds to me like he's trying to celebrate her life, man.
And that's real because, like I said, we worked together. I was school. We worked together and we became friends. And I really and truly, educators, bro, they have a tough job.
If she who you describe, bro, then God celebrates her life, man, in Jesus' name, bro.
Oh yeah. But I just wanted to say something about her.
I'm glad you did,
That's
man.
all.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. Before we get off. Oh, no. I didn't hear you, Dave. Any last words before we get? Can you hear me, guys?
I can hear you now.
You have any last words, Damon?
I think, man, that the times that we living in, man, we really have to. You spoke on something that makes me emotional. I'm not desensitized towards that, bro. So, I'm gonna parse my words by saying, rest in peace, sister. And I'm praying for your family. And it's heartbreaking. Real talk.
Shaquar?
Good show, fellas. I look forward to the next.
Last words from me is God bless all of you guys. God bless everybody. The Strong Perspective Podcast. We're here every Friday, 7:30. Please tune in. Tell your friends about it. Go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Build our numbers up. Come partake in authentic conversation, laughter, joy, real concern, just from my point of view and our guests. Please go to the YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. This is Strong Perspective Podcast. We'll see you next week. Peace.